where are we, guys? I think in the last class, am I done with the sessions part, I guess? Right? So this is the one. This is what we have seen. Once the user logins, when we reload the page, earlier what used to happen is it used to again redirect to the main page, the index page. But what we have added is we are maintaining the session concept. Like once they got logged in, we keep the user login information within the session. And second time when the user comes to the page, we make sure or we check whether user is already logged in or not. If the user is already logged in, we show him the product details page automatically. Otherwise, we redirect him to the login page, and we have even implemented the logout option. Once the user clicks on logout, he will be redirected to the master page. So for that, we are using the express-sessions module. And on the top, we have even seen the concept of, earlier we have already seen the same thing, like the product details. Now it is also coming from the database, right? So if we have written the web service for the product details, where we are hitting the product details info web service, and we are hitting that, we are getting the data. And one thing what I'm still pending is I haven't seen how do we upload the product details, isn't it? So we have taken a simple JSON file and we are importing the data. That part also we have seen, like instead of manually inserting one by one, how do we create a JSON and how do we insert the data? How do we import the data from the JSON file to the collection? That is what we have seen. But one thing I'm still pending is how do we upload the data manually? Say for example, why don't we create a page when the user, where the user enters ID or the product details, including the image? How do we upload an image into the database? So sorry, into the server. So those things we are still pending into. Okay. So that is still pending. On the top, there is another, actually two concepts which I'm still pending in the Node.js, guys. One is the clustering concept. How do we create multiple views? That I'm going to discuss right now. After that, I'm going to show you how do we actually upload the data, like whatever the data you have inside the, not the data actually. Data is very simple. We have already seen, like creating a, what do you say, a new user who is getting registered. We have already seen how do we take the user data and put in the database. That is very simple. Through web service, we can do that. We have already seen request.query and request.body. How do we read the post data and get data, and how do we put into the database? But what we are still pending is how do we take a file like an image or a document or a PDF. User want to upload the file to the database or data to the server. So that I'm still pending. So these are the two concepts which I'm still pending with the server side. So once these two are done, we will be going with the ECMA 6 concept. And mostly from Monday, I'll be combining my morning 7 a.m. batch who are waiting for this ECMA 6 concepts. So I'll combine you batches for 2 or 3 classes, and then I'm going to wind up this. Okay. Okay. So before going to this, I think I have some question from Bansari. Bansari, may I know what actually the issue you're facing? You're saying that status of 500, how to solve it? Can you please elaborate your issue? Is it like, well, you're creating a web service, or can you please elaborate your issue? You're there? Okay, fine. Let me know when you are available. Okay. On the top.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. Sir, I have one question.
Go ahead,
sir. How do we include the payment method in our website?
So, that's a good question. Say for example, you want to go with the payment. The luckiest part, or the easiest part nowadays, what we have is, we generally, like any organization who is going to work on the web development, they generally don't go with the payment implementations, guys. In order to implement the payment, we have the third-party APIs. Okay, so we have some paid third-party APIs, because the main challenging part what we have at the payment option is, say for example, user is saying that, okay, I want to go with online banking or mobile banking or phone pay, GPay, Paytm. So for this, you need to sync with all the existing banks or whatever the payment options you have. At the same time, when I go with, say for example, I'm going with the HDFC online banking, so you need to know like what customer, everything. So a lot of validations you need to do. So that is that we do is we actually link the payment option to the third party guy, like Pay for You or Paytm is one of the third party. At the same time, there are a lot of third
Razor
parties
Pay.
that are available. Sorry, what was that? Third party payment gateways. Okay, so Razor Pay is the one. Pay You. Okay, this is also one of the one, and a lot of third party APIs are there. If we go to there now, say for example, I would like to go with the Pay You payment gateway. You simply go here and search for API. Okay, so they will be giving you extra information like what are the API. Say for example, I would like to go as a developer, API references. So that is like a third party. Like if you see, when you go with the jQuery, how actually you're making use of the jQuery, you're including the JavaScript, you're calling those methods. In the same way, they have their complete API. Okay, say for example, about this documentation, what actually you're going, what technology you want to implement into PHP, Node, Ruby, whatever it is. Say, for example, if it is Node, so you can actually choose the option and the corresponding API will be provided here. But for that, first of all, you need to get registered saying that this is your bank details, and we need to pay for them, saying that, okay, in order to utilize this per day, these many transactions, how much percentage they are going to take, you will be paying for them. Once that payment is been done, you will be provided with a private key, a secured key. Now, anytime you do the payment, once you, you just need to call their API. That's it. You as a developer don't need to do anything. Now, obviously here, where, for example, I have Prasad underscore user. India, once you click on login, say, for example, here you will say add to cart. Item will be added to the cart. Now you say simply payment. You know that what is the price which need to be paid. Take that price, pass it to the Paytm, the third party gateway. He will take care of redirecting you to the third party page. There you pay everything. Once you get a success response, the API will be passing you saying that, okay, boss, it is success or it is failure or it is waiting. So based on that status, you need to regenerate the page. So you as a developer don't need to bother on how do we take the transaction to the bank, how do we deduct the amount from the bank, how do you take that amount and put into your merchant's bank. So those type of things you're completely not bothered of. You simply take the third party payment gateway APIs and just make use of it. Did I answer your question, Shreyas?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. One more thing, guys. Please put the questions in a public. Don't pick it to me directly. Okay. So Hemant is having a question. Just to remind, can you please upload the files together? I just did that, Hemant. Now, if you take the latest, you should be able to see the new files. Till now, whatever we have done, I have just updated before starting the class. Okay. Any more questions before we go forward? Anyone? No questions? Okay, good. So the next concept, and one of the very important concept of any of the server, it is not just only the Node.js. So right now we are going to talk about the concept, guys. It is nothing specific. Now, when I go with Express, yes, it is specific to the Node.js. When I go with how do we create a web service or MongoDB framework, etc., or sorry, MongoDB Node module, that is specific to the Node. But the next concept, what we have is there is something called as cluster concept, a very common concept which is used across the servers. It is not only specific to the Node.js, but it is being used across the multiple technologies, multiple servers. Java server uses clusters, or PHP, Python, any server, they go with the clustering concept. Okay. So before going with clustering, can you give me any idea if anyone is having any idea that, okay, boss, this is what you mean by cluster? Anyone? Or anyway, I'll give the explanation. I just want to know, like, before I go. Okay, no one?
On the production box, they will be using the many servers which will be serving the client requests. So they will be group these production servers. I think so. That they will call it as clusters.
Yeah, that's a good answer, Gary. Yeah, the one thing is, yes, it is being done at the server side and it is being done at the production. Yeah, mostly. And that to remember, guys, in the last class, I have even discussed about multiple environments existing on the server side, like Dev, UAT, SIT, BCP, prod1, like this. There are multiple versions, right? Multiple environments. Under that, obviously, everybody knows what do you mean by production version. The prod version is the actual product what the end user is facing and end user is making use of it. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Before going with the clustering, instead of directly going with the clustering concept, let us actually see what is the need of the clustering and what are the problems currently we are facing with the current server. Okay. So, for example, let me small individual server, guys. Okay, let me go into the public folder. Under that, I'll create a new folder. It's not client side, it's again server side. It's better, like, okay. Cluster server.js server. Okay, under that, I say my server.
It's in public folder.
Yes, it is actually. That is what I'm saying. Actually, we don't create the server folder, but I want to create a simple HTTP server. Remember, earlier we used to do that myserver.js where we used to include the HTTP required module and all. I don't want to include this with the Express and don't want to make you confused. I want to take a very simple example of simple server. We'll see what are the processes it is getting created. So that is the reason I'm creating this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we know this simple server. How do we used to create it? We used to say something called as a var HTTP is equal to require HTTP node module. Okay, and on the top var server equal to HTTP dot create server. Remember, guys? So we used to come with request and response. Okay, and server dot listen, say some 8082 console dot log server is listening at 8082. Okay, and on the top we used to say response dot write head, say something called as hello server got created, and I simply say response dot end. Actually, under the right head, we specify the status code and content type, right? Under the response dot end, we do this. We specify it as 200. I'm not specifying the content. Remember, we can even specify the content type also as the second parameter. We are going to pass it as an object, say some content type, etc. Okay, anywhere like right now, I simply pass on this status code just as a 200. I'm creating a very simple HTTP server. Okay, and the server simply says that hello, I got created, and it is listening at so and so port number. Okay, so let us say cd public cd cluster server, node my server.js. Okay, the server is listening at 8082. And now you say 8082, click on enter. It is simply saying that, boss, the server got created. Super fine. Very nice. Now, to know what is the process under which it got created. Okay, what is the process under which it got created? Now, in order to know the process under which it got created, we can make use of server got created. And along with this, we can say console.log process.id, process.pid. Okay. Restart your server. Now, once you restart your server, once you reload the page, it is saying that 13072. N number of times you are hitting it. See here, N number of times you are hitting it. It is always coming from 13072. Internally, within your machine, there is an individual process ID will be created. Under the particular process, your current server 8082 is running. So anytime user hits it, this is the process which is responding back to the user. Now, if you ask me a question, what do you mean by process here? It is a predefined object by default available within the node environment. You are not going to create it, but it is by default available. Okay. On the top. Now, okay, any questions up to this? Creating a very simple server and getting the process ID where the current server is running. Any questions? No?
No, sir.
Good. Now, my next thing is, for example, I have a server. Assume in order to respond back to this guy, what the server is doing is, assume the server is taking say some 5 of time. Okay, let me take this example. Assume whenever you put a request to the server is responding in say something called some 5 seconds of time. Okay, it is taking totally 5 seconds of time in order to respond. Now, at a time, say for example, there are 10 requests are being sent to the server. Can you tell me, in order to finish the 10 individual requests, totally how much time it is going to take? Totally how much time it is going to take in order to finish all the 10 requests? Come on, anyone? Come on, guys, this is open. If one request is taking 5 seconds of
50 seconds.
50 seconds.
obviously
50 seconds.
totally it is going to take 50 seconds of time in order to finish all the 10 requests. That's it. So totally it is going to take the 50 seconds of time. Okay, let me take a practical example, guys. Assume we all are sitting live classes. Assume, just think of, we all are sitting in a class which is filled with some 100 students. Okay, or else like a class which is having some 50 students, and I'm the one who is sitting over there. I said to each and everyone saying that, boss, each individual student, please come to me. I'm going to allot 5 seconds of time. Okay, so right now it is 50 students we have, and each student I will be spending say some 5 seconds of time. Okay, I said that, boss, I'm going to spend 5 seconds of time with each and every student. Okay, now you tell me in totally how many seconds, say for example the 50th student is coming, after what time the 50th student will get his response? Come on.
250.
45 seconds.
Obviously he will
45.
take 245 seconds of time he has to wait. After that he is going to, sorry, it's completely I'm going to finish in total 250 seconds of time. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. Now, the problem is why the end user or why the other people are actually waiting whenever they are putting a request. Why the reason they are actually waiting? Isn't the reason is because of the first request, whatever you have sent, sorry, isn't it because only one resource who is standing over there, faculty who is standing over there in order to respond for each and every student? That is the problem, isn't it? So if we have, say for example, there are multiple faculties available, and if you get a response from, like, if you get the response from everyone, then obviously it can be more faster. But the problem is, what you say is, boss, how for example, say for example, if there are different faculties, the response what you get is, it will be completely different. You want the same faculty, and at a time you want multiple responses or multiple requests to be handled, and at a time you should be able to see the response. So how you're going to solve this? So this is where the clustering concept is going to come into the picture. Now there are 50 students. There is only one single faculty who is standing before you guys, and one by one requests are coming, because he can handle one request at a time. And after, in order to finish all the requests he's taking totally 250 seconds of time. Now, instead of this, let us imagine this. Let us imagine, say for example, I'm the one, Mr. Prasad is standing before you. What if I create virtually, physically, it is not possible to create a copy of me, isn't it? Is it possible to create another Prasad? No, right? Think of virtually you are creating the same copy of the Prasad for 10 times. Okay, virtually you are creating the same copy of Mr. Prasad for 10 times. And now the total 50 students are going now. Can you tell me in how many total seconds all the requests will be done? In total, how many seconds all the requests will be done if 10 Prasads are standing before you? Is it not 50 seconds of time?
50, yes, sir. It's faster than.
So just earlier it was taking 250 seconds of time to finish all the requests. Now you are just finishing in 50 seconds of time. This is what we call it as clustering concept. The load balancing you're going to do. When there is too much of load on the single server, we virtually create multiple copies of the same server. Physically, it is not existing. I'm not saying that physically a Prasad copy will be created. No, virtually, you think of there is some guy virtually who is existing. And who is taking care of, he is taking a request and processing same. Obviously, he is Prasad again. It is not a different person, the same Prasad, but multiple copies got created. Now, all the requests will be finished in just 50 seconds of time. This is how you're increasing the performance of the server. So right now, whenever you're creating an individual server, you see only one server which is getting created, which is at 13072 process. Only one process which is got created. But what we want, if you have 10 processes which I get create, the advantage what I have is at a time 10 people hitting the server, still we are going to return the response in more faster. This is what we call it as a clustering concept. The concept of taking an actual server and creating multiple virtual copies of it, so that whenever user puts a request, you will be getting the corresponding response. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, you may ask me a question. Okay, boss, when you have, where is this? When you have something called 50 students are there, each student is taking 5 seconds of time. Now you are creating 10 virtual copies. You're finishing the time in 50 seconds. Then you may put me a question, because you're creating virtually, it is not like physically you need to create multiple servers. Why don't you create 50 virtual copies? So that totally 5 seconds of time it will take to finish all the jobs. Agree or not?
Yes, sir. I agree.
But the limitation what you have is, whenever I'm creating multiple virtual copies, say for example, in my current system, I create 10 virtual copies of my current server. If I create 10 virtual copies, Is it not the same? And is it not all the 10 virtual copies are working on the same system? Now, is it my system is capable of running multiple virtual copies? No. It is not like you can create any number of copies, virtual copies, as many as you wanted. It is only depends upon the current CPU capability, the current motherboard, what I have, the current processor, what I have, the current configuration, what I have to my current machine. You have to see how many virtual copies the current system is capable of managing. So you need to see how many copies. It will tell you, boss, these are the copies what I can create. Based on that, you're going to create multiple copies of the existing server. Okay. So now how do I get to know that how many servers I can create? In order to do this, there is a concept, something called as where CPU is equal to require. There is a piece of module, something called as OS. OS, operating system, which is a predefined module. Sorry, import, let's say, import CPU from OS module. Okay, there is a module called as OS. You're going to import the CPU module from it. Okay, so actually this CPU module is, sorry, the OS module is used for. Okay, and one more thing, guys, either you can do this or you can even say where CPU is equal to require OS. Okay, don't get confused. Both of the ways it is going to run the same, either line number 2 or line number 3. Okay, so what I'm doing is get me the reference of the CPU from an existing module called as OS. And what is this OS module? Anytime you want to work with the current system or the operating system, you can actually make use of this OS. Now, under this, you have a predefined property, something called console.log CPU.length. CPU dot length. Okay, so once you say CPU dot length, if you, when you restart your server, it says cannot use import statement outside the module. Oh, okay, we are not creating it as a module, right? Then, so these modules in importing and exporting, I'll be talking when I actually come to the ECMA 6, guys. Other, if we use that, then it won't be a problem. So right now I'll make it as CPU. Now I say npm. CPU is not a function. How come? Oh, OS dot CPUs. Okay, now if you see here, what is the total number of servers I can create here? 4. As per the current system configuration, I have the option of creating only 4 servers. I cannot create more than 4 servers in my current machine. Any questions up to this?
So these 4 servers create for only single project.
For an individual project, we are going to create multiple servers. And for current project, it is not actually current project. Whenever in my system, I want to create versions, multiple virtual copies, the maximum capability what I have is 4. Any other questions? Okay, fine. Now, the next concept what I need to have is I need to create 4 servers in my current machine. Okay, so let me write the code, guys. Then I will actually give you the explanation. I say that I need to import the cluster module also. Where cluster equal to require cluster if is 1 second, guys. This cluster is this guy of CPU. To CPU dot length. I say for I equal to 0, I less than number of CPUs, I plus plus cluster dot fork. Okay. This is getting created once. Number of CPUs. Oh, why it is undefined? Import cluster. Required is not a function. One second, guys. Let us see. npmjs.com. This is how we added, right? Clusters, Luster. Oh,
This is primary or master?
exactly. It is master, I guess. Yes. Is master. 1 second. Let me. Is it is primary or master? Where do we
It's
have
sir, it's master. In master.
is
It's
master.
master. Yeah.
Cluster dot is master. Let us see what it is coming. Yes, it is coming as true. What I need to do is okay. cluster.4 else server dot created. Okay, when I'm saying the cluster.4, why it is not working here? Cluster.fork fork I equal to 0, I less than number of CPUs, I plus plus. This is fine, right? What I'm missing here? Why my inside guy is working only once? Why it is not going inside the for loop? I equal to 0, CPU dot length.
Directly giving the number force. I
No,
think,
no, we should not.
instead of
We should not give like that, right? Because sometimes
in the variable instead of CPU dot length, you can directly give the number force.
let us see what actually the value we are getting. Come on, why is the number of CPUs are 0?
That's why.
Oh, right now it was coming, right? Number of CPUs, CPU dot length. Oh, it is CPU dot length, right? If you are not talking, you need to mute.
Sir, you forget the brackets. CPU dot length.
Do you?
Before, yeah, before.
Okay, so here you are saying yes.
Yes.
CPU is a method, right? Yes. Okay, good. Okay, now I see class inside this guy. Okay. Okay, now if you save this guy, restart your server. When I say node so and so, why it is still saying true and all? I removed all this. Okay, let me remove this. One second, guys. One, two, three, four. Okay. Now, if you see here, how many processors got created? It is totally 4. 1396, 8184, 13156, and 3744. Okay. I'll even do one thing called hello server got created plus let us even pass the process ID to this so that we can see from which processor the response is coming from. Okay, now I restart my server. I say node so and so. You see, these are the 4 processes. Now, when I'm reloading this page, it is saying 4952. Okay, but n number of times I'm hitting, it is only saying 4952. Why the reason? Because all the 3 are sitting idle. Right now, our server is not getting too many hits. In actually, when it go into the real time, when too many hits are going on, in order to manage multiple hits, it is going to switch between the multiple processes. Right now, in my machine, I'm the only one who is hitting the server, and I'm every time getting a response from the same processor. Okay, but sometimes if you keep on you put on for loop and you keep hitting this, sometimes it will change. Let me try for some more time. Again, restart this. When I say refresh, it is 388. When I refresh, control. So we have only single processor, right? I mean, I'm the only one who is hitting it. So that is the one who is sitting idle and it is actually responding. But in general, what happens in your real time is, among all the existing processor, whenever the user request will come, it will see which processor is sitting idle and it will automatically come. If the processor is already occupied by someone, then it will automatically revert back. I mean, it will not respond. I mean, if it is already occupied, the other guy will be automatically picked up. Now, if you see when I'm refreshing, see here, 300 has changed to 9800. Okay, now if you hit on multiple times, again, that guy is responding. So dynamically, you don't need to say that which processor it has to hit. It automatically picks up the guy who is sitting idle and it is going to respond back to that. So this is what we call it as clustering concept. How I have done, I will explain the coding. But before that, have you understood what do you mean by clustering here? Everyone.
Yes, sir.
Everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that's good. Now let us see practically how we have implemented this. I mean, how we have written the piece of code for this. Okay. So the very first thing what I have done is, first of all, we want to check according to the current system configuration, how many maximum number of CPUs it can actually handle under the single processor. Okay. So right now, like someone said that, boss, instead of number of CPUs, why don't you make it as a 4? The problem what you have is, okay, right now in my system, it is 4. What if I'm going to a high-end configuration systems? Okay, say some like 100, 1 TB of RAM, like a lot of too much huge configuration if I give. So there could be some 60, 70 type of clusters can be created. So that is the reason, never hard coded, dynamically take out the number of CPUs what a current system can take. And those many number of times you need to create the virtual copy of it. So how do you create a virtual copy? There is a predefined module called as cluster. Under that, there is a predefined method, something called as .fork method. Okay, which is used to take a copy of the current existing system. Okay, whatever the existing processor you have, so from that it is going to take a copy out of it. .fork is the master method, and that is the main method. That is the main method which is used to take a copy of the existing one. So .fork method. Okay, so what I'm doing here, and one more thing, let us take a practical example. Assume I have given a textbook to you and I asked you, boss, can you please take 2 copies of Xerox of it? Okay, practically, assume I have given a main textbook for you guys and I asked you, please take 2 copies of it. No, when right. If you're not talking, please go into mute, guys. Okay. So if we go with the practical example that I give a textbook and I ask you guys to take a Xerox of it. Now you have given the book to the Xerox guy. He has taken 1 copy. Now the second time he want to take the second copy, you tell me, do you recommend going with the textbook again or go with the existing Xerox and take a Xerox out of it?
Existing Xerox, sir.
Come on. First time you have given a textbook and I have taken a Xerox copy. Second time you go, do you go with the Xerox copy or you give the textbook again to take a copy for better performance? Understood everyone why it is? Because when you go with the Xerox, obviously a bit of what do you say, it won't be as it is like a textbook, but you will be having the same content. But when you take a Xerox of existing Xerox, obviously it will be low performance, right? That is the reason we are putting a line number 9. What do you mean by line number 9? When you are taking the master copy of an existing copy, you see whether it is the master copy or not. It is not like existing server, you create multiple copies. You need to check whether it is a master copy or not. If it is master copy, then only you create a copy out of it. Otherwise, you simply skip it off. Am I clear? Okay, so that is what I'm doing. So in this piece of code, what you're doing is we are using the existing cluster module. Before that, we are identifying total number of CPUs. And now I'm saying that the copy what I'm going to create is it is the one which I want to create. I mean, is it is the master one? Yes. If it is the master, how many CPUs I need to create? 4. That is what I'm saying, cluster.fork method. If that is not the case, you simply create number of servers. Obviously, 4 times you're creating a copy, 4 times the server is getting created. This is how you are going to increase the performance of the page by creating multiple virtual copies of the existing copy or existing master copy. So this is what happens when you go to the Amazon, etc. Now, when you go to the Amazon servers or Google servers and all, you know how much capability they have. They have like the very, very big, huge acres of land they will be occupying just to create their data centers or data servers. And that server, obviously, too much of huge configurations. I mean, millions and trillions of virtual copies can be created. So that is how you'll be getting more faster response from them. So this is one of the very good interview question, guys. If anyone throws you a question that how do you increase the performance of the server? Obviously, optimization of the code. Along with that, taking the multiple copies of the existing server using the clustering concept is one of the best way to increase the performance of the server. Any questions on this?
Sir, you can create copies of the copies also. So does that mean that in that way we can achieve more than 4 clusters for this device?
Okay, that is what, Shreyas. Here, I'm not saying when you say that number of CPUs, it doesn't mean that how many copy of a single copy I'm taking. Totally, my system is capable of how many virtual copies. It doesn't mean that, okay, you had taken 4 virtual copies. Now for the virtual copy also, you take another one. When you go with the virtual copy of the another one, that is not a master, right? Now, when I ask for that is master, it will be simply as a false. That is the reason you cannot create. Did I answer your question, Shreya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
Sir, please explain once again, sir, this.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell that. So first of all, have you understood that what do you mean by clustering? Clustering is the concept of having a single server, taking multiple virtual copies of it so that you can increase the performance of the current server. We call it as a clustering. Okay. In order to implement the clustering, we have a predefined node module, which is called as cluster node module. And one main thing what we have is, it doesn't mean that whenever you're creating multiple copies, you can create any number of multiple virtual copies, but it all depends upon the current system configuration. Under the current system, how many clusterings you can create. So you might have 10 clustering, you can create either 5, 6. It all depends upon the current system. So there is a predefined node module, something called as OS, which will tell you how many clusterings your current system configuration is capable of. Now I'm taking that and how those of times I'm simply saying fork. Dot fork is, I mean, if you think of practically taking a book and taking Xerox, dot fork. Dot fork in the sense taking like a Xerox. I mean, it's like creating a virtual copy. And actually, Xerox is a physical copy, but virtual copy, you do it using your dot fork method. And if that is not the case, you simply create the server. So 4 copies will be created, 4 times the server will be created. And all the servers are residing at 8082, but the processes are completely different. Am I clear for us?
Yes, sir. Sir, if it is primary, so
Matlab? Sorry, I didn't get you.
yeah, cluster dot is master.
Mhm.
Then we can use is primary.
I mean, actually, is primary or is master, both are going to be the same. I mean, when I say primary, when you have 4 copies, right? Under the 4 copy, there is again a primary guy, right? But further, I mean, you can leave it out. I mean, you can just simply check it out whether it is my master copy or not. I mean, actual server copy or not. If it is actual server, then only you go with the multiple copies of creating from that. That's it.
Okay, okay, sir.
Sir, it creates 4 copies, including the master or excluding the master?
Including the master, it is 4.
Okay, sir. And master is 1, and then it create different
Meaning all
3.
3. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Sir, you said that instead of master, we can write a primary. Is it work?
Yes, but actually in my machine, it is primary, it is throwing as false. But in general, either is master or is primary is going to return true. Am I clear, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any more questions? Come on, more questions. Okay, good. So this is what we call it as a clustering concept, guys. The concept of creating multiple virtual copies of the master guy and utilizing this to increase the performance of the web page. We call it as clustering. Okay. Okay, and again, as I said you, when you go with the interviews, people might not ask you a question directly saying that, what do you mean by clustering? They might come up with a question saying that, how do you increase the performance of the page? So you can come up saying that, okay, what do you say? Clustering is one of the way you can actually increase the performance. And anyway, optimization, so a lot of other things are also there. But the way you can really increase the performance by creating multiple virtual copies. Okay, further, you even need to have an idea of what do you mean by OS and CPU modules, because that might be a cross question saying that, boss, how many CPUs you can actually create? Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, in general, for example, if we take any website of results, sir, starting few hours, we see that it gets busy, sir. It doesn't load properly. So when they are capable of creating multiple virtual servers, then why is the network busy, sir?
Okay, so Hemant, like, have you ever seen that Google guy, Amazon guy, or Flipkart guy getting busy? I mean, you would have seen, but not frequently.
Yes, sir.
Not frequently, but you would have seen some of the servers, like they get busy. It's all depends upon the now, right now. For example, 4 members will hit my system, my current laptop. I created this as a server. 4 members are coming and hitting me. Can I give them fast response? 4 members at a time after implementing this clustering?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, yes, right? Because I'm creating a cluster and giving. Now, what if 40 members are coming? Can I give the response? The problem is I have the problem with my configuration of the system, right? I'm not such a big MNC that I can invest too much and I can increase the configuration of my system. Because when you go with the actual servers, the configuration they put like into TBs of, not TBs, like lots and millions and trillions of TBs of RAM they will be having. So too much of investment they have to do. So that is how you increase the number of clustering. It is not like anyone can create any number of clusters. It even depends upon their physical server configuration also, right? So that is the reason at some cases they might be getting this loading because of everyone is already occupied. Now, when you go into, okay, let us take another example. Now, when you call a telephone customer guy, okay, now when you go call to them, sometimes you will be into the waiting state, but not everyone. Like if there are even some telephone customer guys like Airtel, Vodafone, so and so. So they have high bandwidth people. Like at a time, they can make 2,000 people working in their organization. So I mean, at a time, you can, I mean, 2,000 calls can be attended and they are giving the response. Now, what if I'm putting a data center and I'm putting only 10 people inside? When 1,000 people are coming, everyone has to go into the waiting state, right? Am I clear?
Sir, so what is the basic difference between we have box, right, sir? We can create a number of operating system like Linux, Mac, and etc. on a single CPU. So what is the difference, sir, in between this, sir?
Sorry, could you repeat again, Hemant?
Sir, virtual box, right, sir?
Yes.
We can create a number of operating systems like Linux and Mac and etc. on a single CPU.
Okay, so one thing you're
So
forgetting.
what's the difference, sir?
One thing you're forgetting is we are not creating multiple operating systems here. The reason is when the end user is accessing the web page, is he accessing the server or is he accessing the operating system? Answer my question. Is he accessing the operating system or is he accessing the server?
He's accessing the server, sir. But when the computers are connected in a network, there can be can't we do from different systems, sir, at a time?
Okay, let us take, you have taken one of the system, you have configured Linux and you have configured Ubuntu and you configured Windows on the same machine. Okay, three are done. How many you want? Now, do you want like 300 systems? Under 300 systems, again, three individual operating systems? Do you think it will help us? Hemant, I mean, are you understanding or still in a confusion?
Yeah, sir, I am getting it, sir.
Now you're getting it, right? Okay, just
Yes, sir.
having, and that too, take a single system. Now you are launching the Windows operating system. You're running one server. Now you switch to Linux. Do you think that that server will be still existing?
No, sir. But you said in a network, if computers are connected in a network, we can access. No, sir.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? Why your network is coming here?
Sir, you said in organizations, all the systems are connected, right, sir?
Exactly.
So in that case, can't connect the same server, sir?
Okay, when you say Amazon is there, Amazon is a bigger, or for example, yeah, Amazon company is there. Under that, 1 lakh employees are working, 1 lakh systems are there. Do you think Amazon server is running in all the 1 lakh machines? Or they have a single machine under the where the Amazon web page is running? Hemant, answer the question.
I don't know, sir.
Come on, why the individual employee will have the server? I mean, not only Hemant, can anyone answer this?
In a single machine, sir. In a single
machine.
Okay, so when you go into
One domain in one
organization,
machine.
whenever you have any domains like google.com, amazon.com, flipkart.com, gmail.com, abc.com, pqr.com, these all are individual machines having the server running inside their system. Now that individual machine should have the capability to provide the response to n number of requests. Now you to increase the performance of it, increase the configuration of the single machine and create multiple copies inside the same copy inside the same server, and that is how you're going to handle the performance of the page. Am I clear, Hemant, now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, anytime a server is running, it is running only inside the single machine, not into multiple.
Hello, sir. Sir, the
Yes, sir.
Amazon.com website and the Amazon.in websites, they run from different machines or same machine?
In general, they actually keep it two different machines, because when you go into Amazon.com, look and feel is same, but the prices, the ads, what you get, it is completely different. So that is the reason. Initially, they might started with a single, but what they actually do is they divide the individual servers for individual regions.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Did I answer your question, or I'm still pending?
Yes, sir, got it, sir.
Okay. Any more questions still here?
Sir, your OS is creating only 4 servers. If we create only 2, so what happens, sir? Why? What can I do for?
For us, could you repeat again? If my OS is
Create 4 servers. If
okay, One
only
second.
we can
If I
create 2 servers.
if I create 4 servers, is it possible to have? Okay, sorry. Are you talking about the 4 servers or 4 clusters? Because there is a difference between 4 servers and clusters, guys. Clusters will have the same port number, same system name, or the same server name. But when I say individual servers, all will be different port numbers. Now they are not. Now Amazon.in will only work on individual port number, right? It is not like multiple port numbers it is going to run. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Next. Any other questions?
Can we add multiple clusters?
Can we add?
Multiple clusters.
That is what we are doing, right? Right now we are creating 4 clusters, right? Multiple clusters for a single server we can do. Now there are servers, 100 servers into, like say Google is having its own number of clusters. In the same way, right now, I have created a single node server. So this is having a single, I can create 4 number of clusters. So a single server can have a number of clusters.
Yes, got it.
Yeah. Next. Okay, fine, guys. So good. Just go through these points again. Okay, and if time permits, go into Google and try for something called as some clustered. Let us see some images. Just if you see the clustering, okay, like how actually see. Just try to understand the concept of the clustering in whatever the way you want it. Okay, so I will pause it for today, and tomorrow we are going to meet back. Tomorrow, is everyone fine, guys, to join on 31st night? And that it's not like midnight, right? We can still connect, right? No one should have the problem.
Yes.
Okay, no one is having any problem, right? Tomorrow?
No, sir, no problem.
Okay, great. Fine. So I'll be talking about the concept. Actually, I took the examples of it. I was ready with this, but I don't think time will be enough for that. So tomorrow I'll be talking about the Multer node module. If you have time, just even explore that guy. What do you mean by Multer? How do you upload resources using the Multer? That is what I'm going to discuss. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to discuss on that. So let's pause for today, guys. We'll meet again back on tomorrow. And do some enough practice on this. And if you have any questions on this, get it tomorrow. Bye for today, and good night all.